Hello everybody and welcome to Raising Vibrations, and you're with Simon today, and I'm excited to be doing the next month's forecast for everyone, and just basically going to be sharing some of my thoughts and perspective on the upcoming transits, and just giving us a little bit more heads up in terms of what to look out for, how to integrate, and just basically navigate the energy that's coming our way in a way that's less bumpy than what it would be if we were a little bit more unconscious to it. Now, before I go ahead and jump into that, there's a couple of things that I just want to share quickly. Firstly, in the comments below, I really would like it for you to share a little bit about how your last month was, okay? And just kind of, I'm always excited to read the types of experiences that you might have had during your transit. And just an overall, if you feel like if you would like to share, it's not something you have to absolutely do, but I'm always excited to just hear what you guys have to say in terms of your own experience, and maybe it gives a sense of objectivity around how your own transits were occurring. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, after doing the first series of forecasts, a lot of souls wrote to me, a lot of people wrote to me, whether in the comments or private email, etc., just asking, should I watch the rising sign? Now, I don't suggest that. I would say that that would also complicate things as well. So if you're really sensitive to your psyche and you really are aware of the dynamics that are taking place for you, then watching your rising sign, so in my case it's Aquarius, I would watch Aquarius and I would watch Scorpio, right? Sun sign Scorpio, rising sign Aquarius. And then finally, I just wanted to let everybody know, on the 8th of January 2017, yes, that is the new year for us who are following the Gregorian calendar, I'm having a webinar, okay? And in the description below is a link to book your place. And the webinar is basically a forecast for the year ahead, and I'll be hosting that for anybody that wishes to join, and just basically talking about the year ahead, looking at the types of dynamics that are going to be taking place, certain transits, etc. And there'll be a questions and answers after that as well. So I'm really excited to be holding that space, and I'm going to put a lot of effort into creating a very nice visual experience for you. So if you want to experience that, like I said, in the description below is a link, and you can go ahead and book your place, okay? All right, everyone. So with that being said, let's jump straight into our sun sign videos and have fun. Hello, my Sagittarius friends, and welcome to the sun sign forecast for 2017 January. Hope you're well. So today we're going to be looking at where the planets are going to be taking us for this month, and just again, like I said in the introduction, just kind of sharing with you some of my thoughts and perspectives on what's going to be taking place for us. Now, the chart you're looking at the moment is for the 2nd of January 2017, the date of recording these. And as you can see over here, I want to draw everybody's attention to the sun that is transiting your second house of the astrological chart, okay? Now, the sun's in Capricorn, so for Sagittarius, that means that it's transiting your second house of resources, values, your essential needs, and how you basically define your ability to survive, okay? And it's your resources, okay? Now, if you look at this over here, the sun's already moved into Capricorn, and it's at 12 degrees. So from around about the 20th of January, 20th of December, up until the 19th of January, the sun will be transiting your second house. And these themes are very much going to be highlighted for you in a big way, and for everybody, of course, because if you look, the sun is actually in close proximity to Pluto, which means that for you, Sagittariuses, the whole entire evolutionary dynamic has been very much based around your capacity to draw in abundance. Okay, the highest expression of the second house in Taurus as an archetype. I've said Taurus, but you can see Capricorn. I'm just going to say the second house to not confuse any person that's new to this. But the second house, the highest expression is, I can trust in the universe to have abundance all the time, and that whenever I need it, it will always be available to me. The sort of shadow frequency of the second house is, I don't have enough abundance, so therefore I can't share, and I need to kind of keep everything hoarded, right? And that's what the lesson ultimately is in the relationship of the second house. And so for you, on a deep, deep unconscious emotional level, Pluto is really, really ripping up these dynamics and belief systems and ideologies and emotional attachments and perspectives that you have around what you're worth, what your values are, how much, what's your capacity to bring resources to the table, to extend projects, and to do whatever work that you feel like you need to be doing in your life. And how do you value yourself around that, basically, right? What is your abundance that you bring to the table? Now, with the sun transiting this area, this is highlighted for you in a bigger way. It's extra sensitive. There's a spotlight there. So the questions are asked, in my work environment, do I undervalue myself? In my work environment, do I bring to the table the best that I can that helps the overall collective, but also gives me the recognition that I do have something valuable to offer, and not necessarily in those very defined ways, but this is the kind of core question that really does get asked for you. And with the sun transiting the second house for you, this is a bigger part. Like I said, there's a more emphasis on here. So reflect on the nature of your values, reflect on the nature of your resources, reflect on the nature of how you can emotionally share and still feel that you can feel comfortable in knowing what abundance is. Okay. Now, Mercury has been floating around in the second house for you as well. Not for a very long time, to be honest. It's been predominantly in your first house in Sagittarius. And so if you have a look over there on the 3rd and 4th, the 3rd of January, Venus transits into the constellation Pisces, which of course is your 4th house of your astrological chart. And you can also see that Mercury transits back into the 1st house, right, in Sag. So Mercury's connection, because it being retrograde, has a lot to do with kind of dealing with the self-discovery, the pursuit of expression of yourself. The 1st house is very much about discovering yourself, very much about acting and then seeing how you've acted, more than thinking, reflecting, and then acting. So with Mercury transiting your 1st house for the month of December, this has very, very much been about what are your new ways of defining yourself. Remember, Saturn's been transiting your 1st house, right? Saturn's in Sag. Now, my sun sign is Scorpio, so I've already had this transit just happen to me recently. So I know that this indicates an emotional growth in a completely new direction. This is a new self-discovery. This is a new sense of how do I want to be seen in the world and how do I relate to myself? So as Sag transits your 1st house, it opens up this new reality for you, okay? This new sense of who am I? As Mercury transits back into your 1st house, it asks you the questions again. So what have you missed along the process that needs to be just kind of reviewed? What is it that you weren't able to do while I was direct for the last 3 months that now you can just kind of review again and integrate, and so on and so forth? So I wouldn't be surprised if you're kind of feeling a little bit more along the lines of just wanting to change a little bit, change direction slightly, or feeling maybe it wasn't the right decision to do, etc. Or maybe you feel like this was the right decision to do and you're really happy about this. This is pretty much what I feel that this Mercury retrograde is going to do for you over here. And it's not really making a connection to Saturn. I mean, 10-degree orb, great. But it's very, very much about, like I said, this new emotional direction for you, whatever that is for you. You guys are living the experience, you'll know, right? But if we look at the 4th house, we've got Venus now entering your 4th house, the South Node there in your 4th house, Neptune in Pisces is in your 4th house, Mars and Chiron. So you would have moved home. You would have felt a new relationship in your home, a new emotional connection. The 4th house is all about, how can I feel nourished? How can I feel safe and secure? How can I feel safe enough to dance around my home naked and not feel any judgment because that's who I am? Or, sing as loud as and the top of my voice in my home and not feel like I need to feel afraid or ashamed or ridiculed or judgmental or feel judgments coming my way. So it's a place of nourishment and nurture and rest and relax. And with this huge cluster taking place over here, obviously you're looking for that complete and utter place to find and fine-tune your sense of, I can relax here. This is where I've worked today. I've done whatever I've done today. And now I can kind of just like relax and just drop everything. This is what you're working with. This is what you're paying attention to. Now with Mars and Venus there, it's become very personal. Whereas for a long period of time, it's been very transpersonal with Neptune, South Node, and Chiron. Okay. So this is a month for you where you have been paying a lot of attention to it with Mars, but now Venus transits that area. It's going to add emphasis to the feelings of what is essential in your home. That's going to bring you that nourishment, that sense of connection, that sense of bonding, that sense of family, just feeling like you're there and you can emotionally relate to your home and feel that sense of calmness. This is a big deal for you here. And of course, it ties in with the Sun and Pluto story. Now, let's have a look. On the 8th of January, Mercury goes direct. Woohoo! But before I do that, I just want to show you something here. Look at the connection between Moon and Uranus, okay? And look at the connection between Sun and Pluto. Okay, Mercury's still retrograde, but as Mercury goes direct, you see there's that new phase and that new phase there. And this is a big deal because as the moon hits that Uranus, it's going to create this flash of insight, right? The Pluto-Sun connection is going to say, that's it. I'm destroying these old patterns. And Mercury goes direct and says, this is the way I want to go. This is the direction. You're going to have this epiphany, this breakthrough, this feeling of emotional release around this experience and said, okay, this is how I want to go forward, right? And it's perfect. And that's why I've actually created an event that's happening on the 8th of January that I shared with everybody. It's a forecast for the year of 2017. And you can sign up for that. In the description below is a link to that, okay? And I've done this specifically because when you go ahead and look over to the 12th of Jan, you've got the moon and the sun in an opposition, which means it's full moon time. And look at the degrees, 22 degree moon, 22 degree Jupiter, 22 degree Capricorn, 20 degree Aries, and they're all in cardinal signs, right? Which means that we're dealing with shift, we're dealing with change. Cardinal energy initiates change, it initiates a new direction. And it's this two-step process of put my foot out there. Oh, that's a little bit uncomfortable. I haven't developed emotional capacity to understand what's going on. So then I'm going to come back to what I feel safe with. But I don't like being safe here because it's stifling and old, and I want to move out again. It's this consistent process. So as we sort of begin to move out of the early parts of January 2017, we're going to begin to move into a place of, I don't want to do the old anymore, right? And that's where I feel this full moon is going to start to really kick in the release patterning that happened in December, the sense of what December was about. And, this final sort of like, this is how I want to have 2017 play out for me. Okay. Now you'll notice as well that Mercury goes into Capricorn after the new moon. That moves back into your second house. And we've got this whole entire process of just the energies just consistently shaping the new direction. And eventually, on the 19th of January, the sun enters Aquarius, right? Which is a completely new energy cycle for you guys. It moves into your third house. And so that shift will begin to say, okay, here's my values, here's my resources, here's what I feel great about. And now I'm going to kind of like start to make connections. I want to start networking. I want to start connecting with people and sharing these resources and saying, hey guys, I sit over here and I've got this. And what do you have? And how can we trade? How can we connect with each other and find more common ground in what we do, right? So the sun enters Aquarius and we begin to sort of make more sense of what the end of December was for us, what 2016 was for us, and how we feel about our relationship going on to 2017. And then just before we hit a new moon in Aquarius, we've got Moon, Mercury, and Pluto all in that conjunction in that second house. And that's when it's going to snap for us. I feel like that's when it's going to be like, this is it. This is the completion cycle. I've made up my mind. This is what I'm going to do. And as that energy moves through us, the new moon takes place for us and we make that commitment. We liberate ourselves. We look to the future, Aquarius. We look to the new direction. We envision what we want to do. And we begin to make sort of new intentions going forward for us, right? And for you guys, Sagittarius, this is all about your definition in the world. Look at it. Saturn in the first house, North Node in the 10th house, and Saturn is the same archetype. So it's all about this new evolutionary direction, this new sense of who am I, right? And how do you emotionally connect with it? That's what all the stuff in Pisces is about. How does the world see me, and how is that in synchronicity with my emotions and feelings? Okay. And then finally on the 28th, look what happens. Mars enters Aries, and that's an amazing experience, and Venus is going to be following through very shortly. And that process of Mars entering Aries is going to initiate this new evolutionary cycle. That's it. Okay. So January starts off with this frustration, I want liberation, and ends off with this is where I see myself going. It's amazing, isn't it? All right, guys, thanks very much for listening to me today. Don't forget the webinar series that's happening on the 8th of January. In the description below, you can check out how to sign up. And other than that, have a fantastic month, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.